ثامي بناني.
التهامي بناني.
ديال الزمن، الأثر ديال الحزن.
قضية شاب مغربي
وفاة الشاب المغربي التهامي بناني.
Nothing is more difficult for a mother than losing her child, particularly when she has no idea what is his fate, what happened to him, is he alive or dead? If he has died, how did he die? And if he was still alive, where is he now? 15 years have passed, and the heroine of our story spent the entire time looking for her son. And with each passing moment, she'd wondered, what happened to him? What is his fate? Today's case is a mysterious one, with many questions and plenty of missing evidence. Today, we'll discuss the most well-known disappearance in Morocco.
شكا في ريوس كبار وما غيخلعونيش وما غاديش نخاف منهم. الا بغاو كاع يتعرضوا لي يقتلوني ما عنديش مشكل. نهاية ولدي ومصير ولدي نعرفو.
In Morocco, Mohammedia city, Thami Bennani was born to a modest family. Throughout his childhood, Thami was always at the top of his class, and according to his mother, Mrs. Hayat, he was very nice and not at all troublesome. Years later, in his adolescence, Thami met a group of friends who belonged to the upper class. Thami's mother was always trying to instill in him the value of contentment and teaching him that no matter what, he should always be happy and content with what he has, whether it is little or lot. However, Thami reached high school and his grades deteriorated, but everything else was going normally. There was no warning or indication that Thami would disappear soon and in a very mysterious way. On Wednesday morning, 14th of March 2007, Thami was getting ready to go to school just like any other normal day, and before heading out, he informed his mother he was going to dine out. That was fine with his mother. Then she headed to her work as a teacher in nearby school. She returned home around noon and was surprised to see him there. She asked him if he has changed his mind about dining out. He told her that he only came back home to taste the food, and he would then return to his friend. The mother laughed and said, okay, fine. Then Thami rushed out and went down to meet his friend. A moment later, his younger sister ran to her mother crying and complaining that Thami has taken her phone. So the mother told her youngest son, Ahmed, to quickly follow his brother and retrieve the phone. Ahmed quickly went down while the mother watched from the balcony. She yelled at Thami to wait for his brother and return Sarah's phone. Thami then stopped, and his mother saw him with 4 of his friends, who she knew very well. Ahmed took the phone back from Thami and went back home. After some time had passed, the son sat down. Thami was supposed to return home by then, but that didn't happen. The mother began feeling scared and unsettled. So she took her phone and called him, but he didn't answer. It's unusual for Thami to be this late, or to go anywhere without telling his mother. He was used to telling her exactly where he was going with his friend, and if they were to go some other place, he would call her and tell her that. But this time, she didn't hear a word from afternoon to midnight. He wasn't answering, and he hadn't told her where he was going. Fear started to take over the mother's face. Ahmed came to his mother and assured her, and told her that he saw Thami at 5 p.m. with his friend in the car, and that he was still with his friend whom they knew. He's definitely still with them, so don't worry. Attempting to assure his mother, and what he said was right. The mother tried to relax a little and wait until the next day. Perhaps she will hear from him or he'll return. Then her daughter Sarah's phone rang, and it was Thami's girlfriend, but nobody answered her because they were preoccupied with locating Thami. The next morning, the mother went to Thami's school and asked the janitor about him and his friend, and told him that he had been missing since yesterday with no traces. The janitor gave her a weird answer and told her that Thami and his friend didn't come to school that day. The mother became even more anxious. She began to believe her instincts that something strange was happening. She left the school, and at the gate she met some of his friends. She asked them if they have any information about Thami. One of the girls replied that he had been out with his friends the day before, and that maybe he had overdosed. The girl was his friend who called Sarah his sister. That was the mother's first shock, and she immediately returned home while thinking, how could he overdose? He didn't even do drugs, and surely if he was doing drugs, she would be the first person to notice. She would notice his behavioral change. No way he would act normally. So that the mother went to work with great concerns. She couldn't think of anything but her son. She also couldn't report him missing before 48 hours. When she finished work and returned home, she found Thami's father sitting with Thami's friends, who were with him the day before when he went missing. He informed her that he had called and asked them to come, and that they had just arrived, and according to the mother, fear and anxiety were clearly visible on their faces. So the mother spoke to a particular friend, the one who had the car, and inquired as to where Thami had gone and what had happened. She said at that exact time he was with them. He replied, saying that Thami asked them to drop him in a place near the house, then went their way. And they didn't know what happened next. Things became more complicated. The people who were supposed to be the last to see him knew nothing about him. After 48 hours, Thami's dad reported him missing. The police began doing their job, but Thami's family didn't stop searching. Suddenly, the mother remembered Thami's friend, who told her that he might have overdosed and got sick. She wondered if someone really had given him drugs and had just made him sick. Is it possible that the girl was right? She immediately went to the hospital and asked if they had seen a young man named Thami Bennani the day before. One of the nurses saw his picture and told her this exact word. I treated this young man myself. His friend brought him here at 3 a.m. So the mother asked that he accompany her to the police station and give his statement, because that would be very helpful, and he agreed to go with her. But what happened next was really weird. When the mother reached him later to ask if he had talked to the police, he told her that he didn't know anything. And when she asked him, didn't you tell me that you treated him yourself yesterday? He claimed that he hadn't told her anything.
اللي بيدك عليها وقلتي لي هذا كان عندي 7:30 خرجت الصباح.
لا ما قلتلكش انا داويته، لا سمحي لي، حيت هذا الانسان انا ما نقدرش نحكم عليه بان هذا داويته.
Weird things were happening. What could be the reason for it made the nurse deny everything he said? And it hadn't been that long to forget. It's impossible to forget such things in a short period of time. The mother became even more confused and began recalling the events one by one. Then she remembered a crucial piece of information. 10 days before Thami's disappearance, he asked her to give him some money to buy a gift for his girlfriend's birthday. And her birthday was supposed to be on March the 14th, the same day Thami disappeared. She was the first girl the mother met at school and told her that he might have overdosed. So the mother was determined to meet with that girl. She obtained the girl's address and went to her home and told her that she wanted to know the truth and everything she knew about Thami. The girl started vowing while shivering. She told her something terrifying. She told her that Thami's friend had killed him and burned him and tossed him into the sea. The mother was freaking out from what she had just heard. Unfortunately, she wasn't prepared for that moment, and she didn't record anything. But she agreed with the girl to go to the police station and testify, and she agreed without hesitation. Then they went to the police. The girl claimed that she hadn't seen Thami that day, and that she didn't know anything. And since his friends said that they had dropped him near his house, then they know better because they were with him. She wasn't with him and didn't see him. The mother was aghast and told the girl, didn't you tell me his friend had killed and burned and tossed him into the sea? Didn't you tell me that he had overdosed? The girl simply replied that it didn't happen at all. The police couldn't accept Tammy's mother's statements on behalf of the girl. Unfortunately, there was no evidence that the girl had said that to the mother. If the mother had recorded that, it would have been considered an evidence. Until this moment, Tammy's case was classified as disappearance, with nothing indicating his fate. All concerns revolved around 2 points. Where was Thami? Was he still alive or not? The mother took a look at the case file and read the police report, which included statements from Thami's friend, expecting to read that they had dropped him off and left him, as they told her and her husband that day at home. But what was written in the police report was completely different. According to the report, Thami's friend didn't see him at all that day, the day he went missing, even though she had seen him getting into the car with them, as had his brother. Unfortunately, the police didn't listen to them. Instead, they took Thami's friend's statement that they had not seen him. Thami's family had no proof. All his friend had agreed on one statement: they hadn't seen him that day. What's going on? The nurse, Thami's girlfriend, his friend, and school janitor, they all denied seeing him and changed their statements suspiciously. These people definitely knew something, or at least they had a reason to deny seeing him and change their statement like this. The mother then thought of obtaining some stronger evidence. She considered trying to access Thami's phone's call. She was able to get the log with assistance of a professional. She checked the last phone number Thami dialed. Thami's most recent phone call was with an unknown number. It was around 12:15. Then the mother started searching for the owner of that number, and she discovered something strange. She discovered that the owner of that number was a man born in 1953, with significant age difference between him and Thami. The mother became concerned and wondered who could this man be, and why her son would communicate with someone much older than him. Concerns began to take over her mind, until she gathered her courage to contact the man herself. Indeed, the mother was able to reach the man and ask him about Thami, but he told her that he didn't know him and had never spoken to him. She asked him how his phone number ended up in her son's recent call log. The man tried to recall, then he remembered. He told her that Thami might be one of his son's friends, because on that day he left his phone with his son, who's the same age as Thami. That comforted the mother a bit, and she asked him if she could talk to his son. But strangely, the man denied her request and told her that his son is not with him, and he has no idea where he was. The mother was shocked by his response, but she couldn't do anything. He was not the first person to refuse to help her. The mother exited his house. While walking down the stairs, she met a woman, a neighbor of the man. The woman started talking to her and told her about her missing son and how shocked she was by what the man had said. The neighbor confirmed to the mother that the man's son was not living with him, because he and his wife were separated and the boy was living with his mother. Then she offered to give her the wife's address, in case she wanted to visit her. Thami's mother acquired the woman's address and paid her a visit. The mother sat down with the woman's son and asked him about Thami, and asked him to tell her the truth about what had happened. The boy's expression indicated that he was hiding something worrisome. He told the mother that if she wanted to know exactly what had happened to her son, she should go see a certain person who knew everything about that. He was Thami's friend who was with him that day. The mother tried to get him to tell her what had happened, but he refused to tell her. He said to her that all he could tell her was that person was to blame for everything that happened that day, and she should go talk to him, because he had nothing to do with it and couldn't say anything else. The mother sensed that she was getting closer to the truth, but before she went to see that person, she went to see another one of Thami's friends who was with him that day. She told him, "I just spoke with your friend, and he told me that one of your friends know everything about what had happened, but I need you to tell me what he has done." But he told her the same thing. That person knew everything, and they had nothing to do with it, and that he had nothing else to say, and she should go ask that person if she wanted to know where her son was. The mother's fear grew. Why was no one saying anything? Looks like something serious happened that day. The mother obtained that person's phone number, who her son's friend claimed that he knew everything. Then she called him and asked him to come to meet her, so she could talk to him. The boy started making excuses to avoid meeting her, and even ignored her phone calls. It was clear that he had no intention to meet her. Eventually, she was able to obtain his home address and pay him a visit, and his parents were present. Thami's mother started talking with him about everything, from the day her son disappeared to the last thing she learned. When his friend claimed he knew everything about what happened, "Tell me exactly what happened to Thami, my son," she said to him. But at that moment, the boy's father interrupted her and told her that his son was home on the day her son went missing, and that he didn't leave the house at all. He told her that she could go back to her house, and he would do everything he could to help her find her son. He only said that to get her to leave, and he did nothing to help her. It was odd that he refused to let his son speak, or explain why all of his friends claimed he knew everything about the incident. This is a question that has yet to be answered. After a lot of searching and looking around, as well as the police failing to do their work properly, the mother decided to turn to the media and present Thami's case in a show about missing people. The mother hoped it would help her, but things took an unexpected turn. The mother was shocked by the fact that the show misrepresented the case. They presented Thami as a drug addict or overdose, despite the lack of any evidence of this or any proof that he was a drug addict. There was no medical report or an autopsied body to back up this claim. So, how did they come to that conclusion that he was a drug addict who overdosed, when they had no evidence? I would also like to ask those who claim he overdosed, where is your proof? We wouldn't run away from the truth. That incident had a significant negative impact on Thami's family, and as a result, rumors began to spread widely. Harder days, months, and years passed. 3 years after Thami went missing, his father died. He died after doing everything he could to find out what happened to his son. But he died grieving his son. Despite this, Thami's mother didn't give up and decided to continue searching for her son until the end of her life, so she could find the truth about what happened to her son. 5 years after Thami's disappearance, everything was still the same. When the mother went to review the case file, she was astounded to discover that the case had been transferred from Mohammedia to Casablanca, and that the judge assigned to the case had been replaced, and that the case had been changed from missing to murder against an unknown individual. It was hard and painful to the mother. All hope vanished before the mother's eyes, but she didn't give up. If Thami was truly murdered, where is his body? The case was declared in manslaughter against an unknown individual. Fine, where is the body then? How was it considered murder? He is a missing person. However, many years have passed with no progress, so the judge in charge of the case decided to refer it to the National Juridical Police Division, which is the division responsible for complicated cases and conducting precise and thorough search. Indeed, as soon as they received the case, everything was reset. In 2019, they were able to check the call record to uncover the content of the calls between Thami and his friends, and that was the shocking part. The division was able to find calls between Thami's friends, revealing that one of them had told the other that Thami had died of an overdose, and before that, they were all together in the car with Thami when Thami got angry at them, so the younger one got out of the car and left because he was afraid of what had happened. At that time, this boy was only 18 years old. Then his friend called him and told him Thami has died. After that incident, the boy who got out of the car moved to Canada and never returned to Morocco. These were the details that the National Division discovered, which are considered the most crucial discovery of this case. But what happened after his death? And the most importantly, if he had died in the car, where is the body? To this day, there is no answer, and what happened that day is still mystery. Even the idea that he had died of an overdose or any other reason is only hypothesis. Also, the suspect's testimonies are contradictory. At times, they say he died of natural cause in the car with them, and then they didn't know what to do, so they just left him. Other times, they claim that they had dropped him near his house because he asked them to do so. And sometimes they say that he overdosed. The mother was drained to the point that she starts checking bodies, wishing to find her son's body. That's why she would know he died and could finally bury him. It has been 15 years. The lawyer responsible for Thami's case confirmed that Thami's body is nowhere to be found in any grave in Morocco. And she raised an important question: who was protecting the suspects? As if she is implying that there might be some suspicious secrecy from some authority. A number of bodies were shown to Thami's mother, some of which had decomposed and she couldn't identify, but DNA testing proved that it wasn't her son. The second body looked like Thami, and they told her that it was his body, but the mother wasn't convinced because the body looked fresh. No way, the body was 15 years old. Finally, there are many unanswered questions in Thami's case, and several parties with information, but they are completely discreet. They say something, then deny it the next day. Why is that? Even Thami's mother was offered large sums of money to drop the case and forget about it, and this particularly even raises many questions. But of course the mother would not give up her son's rights for anything. Actually, from the beginning, Thami's case wasn't taken seriously, and a great deal of evidence was ignored. And now it has resurfaced as a public issue with a huge campaign taking over social media to help publicize Thami's case. At the end, I want to mention that all details in this video were quoted from Thami's mother herself, which she has said on the news and social media. Finally, Thami's case is still unsolved, and we still don't know what exactly happened. Did he die of an overdose? And if so, where is the evidence? Or did his friend kill and burn him, then toss him into the sea, as their friend said earlier? Or did something totally different happen? However, all we hope now is redress for the victim, and to see the day when his mother would be able to sleep peacefully. This heroine mother, who has patiently waited for 15 years just to reclaim her son's legal rights. We have now reached the end of today's video. I would like to hear your analysis of the case from your perspective, and I hope you share this case widely. This mother should be able to find solace, and this case must be solved, and the criminal must be brought to justice. That's all. Don't forget to like this video because it would help me so much to share everywhere. And thank you very much. The best is yet to come.